Welcome to another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric. And for those of you that are spinners, welcome to the beginning of Tour de Fleece 2022. Tour de Fleece marks an anniversary for me. It is because of Tour de Fleece that I started making these little videos back in 2020. Like so many people, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do to kind of create a little bit of normal life during a not so normal time. And here we are now, all these months later, these years later, and I think many of us are still trying to find a new normal. But one of the things that is consistent between before 2020 and after 2020, at least for those that are spinners, is that we anticipate every year as the Tour de France cycling event takes place that we will get together virtually and sometimes in person to spin up as much fun as we can with our fiber, our spinning wheels, our spindles. We just, as spinners, like to use this time to challenge ourselves, to get together sometimes, to get together virtually, and just enjoy the race for those of us that like to watch the cycling, and for those of us who just like the spinning, enjoy an excuse to spin for nearly a month of time. Unlike other events that some of us have participated in the past, Tour de Fleece is oftentimes all about the personal challenge rather than a competition. There are, of course, many teams out there, some that are on Facebook, some that are on Ravelry. I know that there are some other social media outlets out there that people get together. And sometimes there are teams that you can join. And they have competitions, they have prizes, they have their own set of guidelines and challenges. But for a lot of us, Tour de Fleece is just a time to connect with other spinners, share the eye candy that we call, the eye candy that we have in our fleeces, in our rovings, in our bats, and just, I guess, beat back the heat of summer for those of us that are in the summer months, and I guess for those that are in the winter months, beat back the cold of winter by having this time together to bond, to share, to enjoy. So, for those of you that are spinners, I hope that you will enjoy these upcoming videos, as I hope to make them rather regularly. And for those of you that are not spinners, I hope you enjoy the videos just because it might be something different. So, my goals for 2022, Tour de Fleece. Actually, my goals for 2022 Tour de Fleece are not so different from my goals of 2022 in general. I can't seem to pin anything down specific. I seem to be taking every day as it comes rather than looking too far forward. As much as I would like to have a little more organization, this year just seems to be one of those that I have to take every day. Be grateful for what comes in that day. Be grateful for the challenges. And take a lot of rest to overcome the ones that don't necessarily make me smile. I know that that is probably the case for many of us. But this year, I have made a few challenges. I have started preparing some fiber that I will have as one of my challenge day fibers. For those of you that may be new to Tour de Fleece, following along with the Tour de France race, we have stages. Every day is a stage except for there are multiple rest days. And on those rest days, we can have a rest like they have a rest. And then there are days that are designated as challenge days because they're challenges in the Tour de France. So the powers that be of Tour de Fleece, wherever you choose to congregate, whether it is in a local yarn store, fiber store, whether it's in a guild or a club, or in the many groups on social media, the powers that be oftentimes designate the same days that the cyclists are resting and challenging themselves as days for the spinners to rest and to challenge themselves. And so this year, the big challenge for me right off the bat is to try something I haven't really done before, or try something that that might push my creative mojo from the deep recesses of my brain out into the world to share. And so with that in mind, I have created a challenge that and I'll share that. So a few weeks back, my husband and I were at the grocery store, and we discovered a frozen ice cream type dessert, gelato type frozen product in the store, and we decided to give it a try. We went back a couple days later and bought a bunch more because we really, well, I specifically really loved it. And put it here. I'm not sure where it is all available to, but it is just a simple little gelato. And I like the containers. The containers, the ink is printed onto the plastic, so I can't really get the ink off. But I really like the containers, and I hated to toss them in the recycling bin. I believe they are recyclable, but I you know, from back in the years when everything that I needed a plastic container or a container came from recycling, rather than now we can source lots of wonderful containers easily. I saw this container and I just thought, oh, I don't want to get rid of it. It's too cute. And so I was collecting them and I was trying to think how I would use them, and I realized that they would be a great inspiration for a fiber challenge spin for Tour de Fleece. And so what I've done, and I will place a big photo here in front of me to show you, is that I have gathered together some different fibers, and I have over-dyed some of them, and I've left some of them natural. And my goal is to take the individual gelato containers and make a fiber that matches or is inspired by the flavor of ice cream. So that's what I've been doing, and I don't yet have the fiber ready to spin. I have just barely got it hot off the dye pans, but the one that I'm really looking forward to, I'm looking forward to all of them, but my favorite flavor of the gelato was the Southern Butter Pecan. I liked it so much that, yes, I've consumed 2 of them during this inspirational run-up to Tour de Fleece. I've consumed 2 of them. So, in this one, just to give you an example of what I will be doing, and I will be sharing the fibers as I get ready to spin them, as I put them together. But in this case, what I have is a wonderful multicolored CVM, California Variegated Mutant fleece. That is the natural color. That is the natural, right off the sheep, and it's been scoured, and that's it. It hasn't had anything else done to it. That's the natural color, and it made me really think of the butter pecan ice cream that I had. But the butter pecan ice cream also had some caramely butterscotch, And so what I did for that is I took some silk sliver and I over-dyed it. And I over-dyed it 2 different colors. I think one of them is caramel, and I think the other one might be apricot. And I'm going to blend these fibers together in the Inspired by Gelato colorway of Southern Butter Pecan. So that is one of the ones that I will be doing. I'm not going to show every single one right now, but I do want to share with you this one, because I do look forward to doing this one. This one is Black Raspberry Chocolate Chip, and it was dark chocolate chip with a raspberry base. I probably needed to put a little bit of a darker in it, and I'm not sure how well it shows up on the camera. There is quite a bit of raspberry in this. My camera sometimes blues everything out just a little bit, so the photos will give a better picture. But the reason I'm interested in this one and wanted to share it today is because this is a little pile of silk noils, the waste product as silk is prepared. And that is going to be my chocolate chip that goes in the raspberry. So that's going to be very interesting to blend. It's going to be very interesting to spin. I, of course, have blended these in with fibers before. I think it's even something I've shown in a video, or at least spinning some of it. But that is my chocolate chip in my raspberry. And again, this is much more intense raspberry color than the video is showing. But that is 2 of my gelato inspired. I have mango, and I have pistachio, and one that has a caramel cookie crunch, and that will have some more silk in it. And so I'm hoping that will, my challenge is to prepare these fibers and spin these fibers and share them with you for Tour de Fleece. So it's not really going to be a challenge day challenge, but a Tour de Fleece challenge. So that's one of the things that I am doing for Tour de Fleece. The other thing that I'm doing, and this is what I'm going to start with, if you notice I have my wheel, is because I'm having some mojo problem. It's in there. The mojo is in there. I haven't lost my mojo. It is just not wanting to come out into the heat, not wanting to come out into the public. And so what I thought is I would be kind to myself. I would give myself a chance to ease into Tour de Fleece this year. And so if you look back on a couple of my past videos, you will know I went to a fiber festival, and I have scoured up some fleece. And I decided, literally 20 minutes before I started making this video, that I am going to spin this Cormo BFL that has the amazing silky texture and the amazing long, luscious locks. And that is what I'm going to start with. And I am not going to start with anything in mind other than I am so unprepared for Tour de Fleece. I haven't even fully tuned up my wheel. This is the first time this wheel has worked in literally months. But I have decided that I am just going to let this fiber spin as it wants to spin. It's going to have, based on how it's spinning right now, I can say it's going to have a worsted property to it because it spins beautifully from the lock. There is no reason for me to do any other kind of prep. It is, I need to pull out a chunk. There we go. It's spinning, not right now, not extremely fine. I have a feeling I could go very fine with it, but then I would have to knit with very fine, and right now I'm not thinking I want extremely fine knitting. I am picturing in my mind, see, the mojo's back in there. It's back and we're coming to the front. I am thinking as I spin this that I will do maybe a 2-ply. Wow, I don't even know if, there we go. Oh, there we go. A 2-ply. I might do a 3-ply. Because that's some fine fiber. But I'm thinking that I want to do a shawl. I have a couple nice triangular shawls, and I'm thinking that maybe doing a triangular shawl for me that isn't really lace, because that would require me to think, and that's something I don't want to do right now. But to do a lace weight, a mock lace weight, a mock lace shawl. Probably something simple with a garter, the garter stitch. Simple triangular shawl. I'll show a picture of one that I've done in the past. I think I'm going to just do something like that, but instead of having it dense and heavy for winter, have something that I can use that is more a spring and fall, and maybe even summer under the air conditioning. This fleece is beautiful and dark. It has some lighter spots, a little bit of a silvery area, but mostly it is a nice dark fiber. And I think, based on how it's spinning, I will I'll have to do a sample. I don't normally like to sample. I like to just let things spin as they go. But I'll have to do a sample and compare a 2-ply to a 3-ply and see which one I prefer. But I just think doing an open, loose garter stitch might make a nice drapey, lighter weight shawl. I certainly have enough fiber to do that. I suspect I have enough fiber that I can do a very large one if I do it this way. So that's my Tour de Fleece beginnings. I will spin the other stuff as I get it prepared, but I think if every day I can get up and sit down in front of a wheel and spin just this stress-free, lovely lock of fiber, I'll have accomplished my Tour de Fleece. So, Tour de Fleece will go through the 24th of July, and I know that there is the women's race that goes a further week. I suspect I'll spin for the month of July and see where I get to by the end. But I am glad that you have popped in to see my opening day Tour de Fleece 2022 video. I hope you will subscribe and hit like and do whatever else it takes to follow and watch, and leave a question, leave a comment, but mostly I hope that you will get some joy and some entertainment out of me as I spin through Tour de Fleece 2022. Until I sit down and make another video, which might be tomorrow, or it might be next week. I wish you the best. I hope that you are having some time to unwind with fiber and fabric, and I hope that my little effort to share this with you, to share my attempts to get my spinning mojo back, I hope that they will have inspired you and helped you, and if nothing else, remind you that we all do struggle at times to do the things we love. But because we seek joy, somehow, some way, we do find our way back. So, until later, bye.